Video about the ACT test and some recent common questions we've seen. So my first topic is about percents, and this is very common. And some of them are deceptively easy. So here's my question. If you have an item of price P and you increase the price 20% and then decrease the price again 20%, what is the new price? Was it an increase or decrease? And it should say decrease right there. Sorry, typo. But a lot of people say, well, 20% up and 20% down makes 0%. So if you said A, you're wrong. And it's obviously not a 20% or 20% increase or decrease because you increase it and then decrease it. So it should be pretty close. So you may say, well, how is the answer E? The answer is E, 4%. So let me just make a number up. If it's $100 and you increase the price 20%, that'd be $120. But if you take 20% of 120, it is 140. It's not the same number. 20% of 120 is $24. So it's $4 down. It's a 4% decrease. But here's the trick. The answer is 1.20 times 0.80, which is 0.96. Here's the trick. 100 plus 20 and 100 minus 20. 1.2 times 0.80 is 0.96. So it's a 4% decrease, not the same. Very easy concept, but most people, a lot of people who are untrained will pick A. That's why it's wrong. Okay, here we go. So here's another percent change problem. A calculator has a regular price of $59.95 before taxes. It goes on sale at 20% below the regular price. So what is the sale price? Obviously, it is not $11 because it's almost the same price. So just by using process of elimination, you can say, well, it's going to be a little bit below 60. So the answers C, D, and E are even ballparks. And $54.95 is not 20%. That's just $5 off, not 20%. So here's the trick. 100 minus 20 is 80%. So take 0.80 times $59.95, which is the letter D, $47.96. Now, well, a lot of people I'm going to take 0.20 times $59.95 and then subtract. That's what I did in my head here. So it's not only did I get the right answer, but am I shaving off seconds? Because just like in the movie Cars, Lightning McQueen says, I am speed. Save a second here, save a second there, and you get a lot more seconds later on. Okay, so here's another question. This is a recent test, BO2. This is BO4. So this one was a little bit trickier. It says the sales price is $30.40, which is 20% of the original. So you take 0.80x, which is $30.40, divide by 0.80 and get 38. So the original answer was 7.6. That was how much less than the original price. The answer was 38. That's the original price, but they didn't ask that this time. So, and then take the 0.20 times 38 to get 7.60 either way. The answer is D. Okay, here's another one. It's a 3 consecutive decades where a 20% increase, 30% increase, and 20% decrease. A lot of people would say, well, 20 up, 30 up, 20 down would be a 30 up. But it's not, because it's kind of like compound interest. So you take 1.20 times 1.30 times 0.80, which is 1.248, a 25% increase. Again, very simple concept, but a lot of people miss it. And did you notice it's number 57? That's a simple problem at the very end. And if you are prepped and if you are looking for this, then you'll get it right. And that's why you're looking at this video, to be prepped. Here's some probability. Probability is desired over possible. So it's 8 over 18, 4/9. I'll let you pause it and read this. Okay, this next problem is you're picking something and picking something and picking something. And means multiply, or means add. So if each successive draw, you're going to multiply the probabilities. 4/10, 2/9, 3/8, answer D. And you're going to see this 10, 9, 8 come in a lot. Combinations and permutations when you watch those videos in the playlist. Again, here's an and. For and, you multiply. So 0.20 times 0.40 is 0.08. Back in the old days, there was a show called The Dukes of Hazzard, and Boss Hogg would always give Roscoe P. Coltrane 10% of 10% of 10%, which is very little. So The people who knew math, who watched the Dukes of Hazzard, which was a very small percent of people, probably thought that was funny. But when I was a kid, I watched the Dukes of Hazzard. Okay, here's problem 53. If you have 30 members, when you pick one member, you cannot pick them again. So it's a decreasing like a permutation. 30, 29, 28. Okay, this is a very common problem. So pause this video right here. Pause this video right here and just look at this problem. If you have this many marbles, this many marbles, and this many marbles, you have a total of 34 marbles. So if you pulled 12 out of 34, you can see that's going to be a 35.2%, but you want to get 60%, so you add marbles. People told me several times they've seen this on the ACT test. So you take 12 plus x over 34 plus x equals 3/5. Either cross multiply to solve it or just plug in the answers until you get 3/5. Very common problem. I call it the marble adding problem. Okay. This is a number 56, a very simple problem, but it's Trixie. Okay, so you may say, well, it's 25 out of 100, but remember, there's 20 of the different kinds of cards, right? So one of them is blue. So if you've already picked the blue one, you only have 4 more, not 5 more to pick from. So it's 24 out of 100, not 25 out of 100, which a lot of people would pick K. Very straightforward concept, but it's tricky, and that's why it's number 56, to challenge those. Only those who are prepped are going to get this. This one also was a very simple concept, but it's number 58. Four golfers will be randomly split into 2 groups of 2. So there's going to be how many pairs? If there's 4 people, hold up your hand with 4 people, and you put one finger down, you have 3 other people to pick from, right? So it's a 1/3 probability. Again, a very simple concept, but a lot of people would pick J and not K. Tricky. Okay, now pause the video. At some point, a lot of the ACT prep does circles and trapezoids. I've noticed a trend in the last couple of years to use the ellipse, and I know not a lot of teachers teach this anymore. Probably some of your old school, the more experienced teachers may still teach this, but it's not been a focus in a while. So here's an example of the ellipse formula. And if you use the formula x minus h and y minus k squared, the center is hk. So the center is 0, 5. And you go up 4 from this b squared, which is this, I'm sorry, a squared, which is the semi-major axis. A is 4, B is 3. So you go from 0, 5 up 4. So the answer is 0, 9, J. Okay. And again, here's another ellipse. And I went to a website and graphed this ellipse just to show you what the circle looks like. The circle is center 4, 3 with radius 2. Boom, there it is. And then the ellipse, I graphed the ellipse formula, and it's center 4, 10, which is way the crud up here. It's never going to intersect. So they don't have a solution to those two quadratic equations because the graphs do not intersect. Okay, here's some logs. And if you have a TI, 83, 84, whatever version it is, if you do math, alpha math, it brings up a log. So that's your trick if you have a TI. Other calculators, you can find the log buttons, but on a lot of people have TIs, very common. Math, alpha math is your friend. That'll save you one question on the ACT. Now, what your teacher would like you to know is how to, if it's log base 5, this is 5 to the 4th. So you bring down the 4 in front. So 2x equals 4, x equals 2. Without a calculator, an experienced person with logs can do that quickly. But the calculator can save your bacon. Okay, imaginary numbers on calculator. If you have the TI, you can just type in parentheses -2i, and the I is the shift period or something, period button. You just type this in. Hopefully you know about imaginary roots, and you can distribute the 2 binomials to make a trinomial, or FOIL them if you call it FOIL. So the answer is still 29. The answer is C. But again, your calculator will do them. Your calculator is your friend. So be kind to your friend. And that's just a few topics. Let me go back to the beginning. We talked about percents, simple concept. We talked about probability and combination permutation. Again, watch the other videos in the series for more description. Probability, and you multiply or you add. The marble adding problem. And ellipses. Alrighty. Thanks for listening. Good luck on your ACT.